perks of being sat next to a minibar in your hotel when you do your really professional rugby league recordings. But with all that said and done, folks, let's get this party started, shall we? But in all seriousness, we have the Challenge Cup final predictions 2024 between the Wigan Warriors and the Warrington Wolves. I will kick this off by going through the basic information that I always go through at the start of every video. So starting with Super League position, Wigan currently sit in second, Warrington sit in fourth. In terms of recent form, Warrington have won 5 in their last 5 in all competitions. Warrington have won 4 in their last 5 in all competitions. In terms of my power rankings, I have Wigan in first, Warrington in third. For player availability, so in terms of the usual players, Willie Isa will miss the game, Adam Kieran will miss the game, Tyler Dupree will miss the game. Liam Marshall, I've not actually seen anything yet. You guys could let me know in the comments if you know at the time of recording. But Liam Marshall, I think, is 50-50. I've not heard anything yet, but I'll assume for the sake of argument he's in. So I'll assume that. On the side of Warrington, Leon Hayes obviously out. Geordie Crowther, I think, is 50-50. Joe Philbin is out. And Max Wood probably wouldn't have been selected, to be honest, but I think is to be confirmed at the moment. So, general chatter, general conversation about the game. There's a few bullet points that I've got, and then I'll get to kind of the general gist of how I think the game is going to go. First of all, I think the key attacking point of Warrington against Wigan in this game is probably going to be Eckersley, who I think is going to fill in for Kieran. So what I've seen a lot of Wigan fans talk about so far is Eckersley in the right centre position. So a young lad, you know, has probably had plenty of decent games in his career in Super League at this point. I'm not sure how many he's had. Was he on debut? But the Wigan Academy are full of well-taught individuals. He, you know, if he's part of the Wigan Academy, you know that he's got something good going up in here at the moment. So Eckersley probably start the right centre position, and I think that's where Warrington are probably going to look to attack. So he's going to have to deal with Matty Ashton, Toby King, Lachlan Fitzgibbon, and Josh Drinkwater, who is playing some of his best rugby since he's been at Warrington. So that's going to be one real key area for Warrington to look at. The next thing as a negative against Warrington is I don't think we've been tested too much on the edges in like the middle third of the park. So sometimes teams have spread the ball early. One team that did that a lot was Castleford when they played at our home ground in round 3. So Castleford did that a lot early on in the tackle count and found it quite easy to make good field position. Not a lot of teams tested us through the middle third. Lee did it a little bit when they came to our ground as well. But I think Wigan are a team that are more likely to spread the ball, attack the edges, like they did against the Kids last week, or a few days ago for me. So that's something that's going to be interesting in terms of that matchup. I think Warrington should be able to connect a lot better with the players. You know, there were some regulars in there with Powell, Ratchford, Drinkwater, etc. But the combinations with players was well off. I don't think that was a strong game from Ratchford at all. Some of the passes were wayward. Solid enough from Drinkwater for me. Powell, I think, was fine. Probably, really knackered late on into the game. But the connection should be a lot better. With Drinkwater, then going to be paired with Walker and Williams and Dufty and some of the regulars on the edges as well, like Nicholson and Fitzgibbon over on the left-hand side. So the connection should be better for Wire. Next up, both teams are a little bit up and down with errors and discipline. On the errors side of it, I think Wigan are better. I'll have to cover this a bit later on. I've written some things down. On the errors side, I think Wigan are a little bit better in key areas. And on the discipline side, Wigan are significantly worse. So that's going to be an interesting matchup, especially in terms of field position. That could play a big factor. It certainly did in Warrington's favour early on in that game that's just gone. Now, some of the matchups to talk about, there's, Wigan are great defensively. Overall, they don't allow many points. Teams have to really work hard for points. They really, really do. Warrington's resilience in defence, so not just keeping teams out, but keeping teams out for a long portion or long periods of time. They've shown that, especially against Catalans, and the young lads did it for a good portion of the game against Wigan last time out. Let's say, for example, Marshall is missing. Then that's two sides of the field that Warrington can really look to exploit. If Eckersley's in there, inexperienced, Marshall's out, whether they put Hampshire in that position, or if there's a young lad that they want to step into that position, they can do. But if they've got two kids on the edges that may struggle, then there's two sides of the field that Matt Duffy especially can exploit. I think Wigan's kicking game is probably going to be the most important thing on their side, because the way that I'm then seeing this go is that Wigan can probably pin us back with their kicking game. Warrington will probably spread the ball early, because we've done that quite well this season. We've spread the ball early in the tackle count, deep in our own half, and we've gained good field position from it. We saw that especially from the first try that we scored against Huddersfield in the Challenge Cup semi-finals. But we've done it against a lot of teams. We did it a lot last season. When we went away from it, we struggled. But when we spread the ball early in our own half, we catch teams off guard. And when we execute well, we make great field position. And Matty Ashton can open up on the left-hand side. Roderick Ty helps us a lot with field position down the right-hand side. So, yeah, it's just working both edges will be important for Warrington to counteract the kicking game of Wigan. Then on top of that, we could probably pin Wigan back. But then I think we're more prone to penalties or giving penalties away when we have teams pinned back. I don't think we do it so much in the middle of the park. We don't do it so much in front of our own try line. Maybe stats-wise might prove me wrong. But I just feel like we give away more penalties in those key areas where we can pin teams back. So then that's the counteract to that. So yeah, it's a constant back and forth, and then it's about Wigan spreading the ball in the middle of the park again. So it's a constant field position battle. And I think because of that, fitness will be a huge factor in this game. Who can withstand those rushes for a long period of time? And in terms of, decisions with potential injuries, like Nsemba, for example, is he going to be completely fine, or could just like one hit really sort of take that knee out of whack again? Or, just these small little things. George Williams might still have something lingering, or something might be aggravated. So we'll have to kind of see how that goes on throughout the game. But I do think fitness will be a key decider on this. Now, in terms of things in favour of Wigan, tries go in favour of Wigan, lack of errors, or least errors, I should say, go in favour of Wigan, and tackle efficiency as well. They've got much less missed tackles. I can't speak again. So tries, errors, and tackle efficiency go in favour of Wigan. On the side of Warrington, meters, Matt Duffy, I think he's leading the charge in meters at the moment in Super League. So meters for Warrington, tackle busts in favour of Warrington, clean breaks, that's quite close. So on average per game, it's less than one, but it's still in favour of Warrington. Offloads to Warrington, so creating those second phases are important. Something that I think if the kids could have done more of in the last game, would have been a lot better. We didn't get too many offloads, and Wigan really shut us down. They're typically quite good at that, shutting players down and not allowing offloads. But we are beating Wigan on offloads and less penalties. In terms of penalties, we're actually the joint best team. Wigan are the worst team for penalties in Super League. So that's an interesting matchup. So to come towards a prediction now, this line will hopefully just make it very clear for you guys. I think Wigan are the best team in the league. They're the best team in the country. But I think the matchup works slightly, ever so slightly, in favour of Warrington. I think the ruck speed is a little quicker for Warrington. I think the ability to spread the ball early and to make so many meters by spreading the ball early is going to wear down Wigan a lot more. I think the attacking structure has looked a lot cleaner, has been less one-dimensional. The short-range kicking game from Josh Drinkwater has been excellent over the last couple of weeks. I think George Williams, his running game has been even greater over the last couple of weeks, and Matt Duffy is playing lights out at the moment. So one way to kind of expand on that point a little bit is like in the NFL, for example, you might have one team that has a 6-3 record versus a team with a 1-8 record. You'd take the 6-3 to win, but if there are certain aspects of the 6-3 team that could get shut down by the 1-8 team, like a cornerback on the defenses can shut down a wide receiver, certain matchups can just take a team out of the game completely. And I think it's just those matchups plus the fitness of Warrington and the resilience they've gone through, I think as a unit are just a good matchup. So I think Wigan are the better team, and over the course of the season I think we'll see that. But just the matchup I think works well for Warrington in this game. And it's just about discipline. That is it. As long as Warrington are better than Wigan in terms of discipline in this game, over the course of 80 minutes, we will see that pay off with the fitness and with the strong discipline. So I'm going to go with actually the same scoreline that I went with in Super League last week, because I think it will be extremely narrow. But as I said, the matchup, I think, just works. Danny Walker's pace through the middle, the carries from the forwards, Paul Vaughan, Harrison, Fitzgibbon on the left edge. I assume Nicholson will play over Holroyd on the right edge, or maybe even Ben Curry plays there, and Crowther might be fit for loose forward. But I think it just works nicely for Warrington on this one. But as I said, Wigan over the course of the season, I think are just the stronger team. So I'm going to go with Wigan Warriors 22, Warrington Wolves 24. So that is going to be it for my Challenge Cup final predictions 2024. It's been pretty good so far, these predictions. I think maybe only 2 incorrect. To be fair, some of the matchups have been fairly easy to predict. But yeah, this should be a hell of a game. It's very interesting that, given how successful these two teams have been in the Challenge Cup over the last decade or so, that they've never met in a final. So I'm really looking forward to it. Really looking forward to it. Should be a hell of a game. But if you have your own predictions, do let me know in the comments down below. Be interested to hear your thoughts on how you think the game's going to go, what you think the score's going to be. But yeah, thank you very much for watching, and I will see you at Wembley Stadium.